All right, so South Africa's business community has reacted or responded with mixed feelings to the Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana's midterm budget policy statement, welcoming government's efforts to curb spending, but also warning that slow growth and poor implementation could threaten recovery. For more discussions on what this means for business and the wider economy, let's speak to Harry Scherzer, who is the CEO of Future Forex. Thank you very much indeed, CEO, for joining us this morning. We do appreciate your time. So, I mean, the Finance Minister, of course, acknowledged, the country's elevated debt to GDP ratio and weak growth outlook. From a business and market perspective, do you think the measures announced go far enough to stabilize debt levels and restore confidence?
Good morning, Griselda. Great to speak to you this morning. And I think you just need to look at what the Rand did in the market to see that investors do believe that the budget speech was very, very positive and put a lot of things in place to make sure that we can sustainably improve South Africa and look for economic growth. The big one being the inflation targets moving from a 3 to 6% range down to a 3% range, which for investors is a dream. It basically means that your money is worth more in time in South Africa. And as a result, we've seen that the Rand strengthened all the way down to below 17 to 1 on Thursday. It's gone a little bit weaker since, but still, overall, it's a very strong Rand. We're sitting at 17.07 to the dollar at the moment, which is close to our strongest levels since 2022.
And I mean, given that South Africa's recent removal from the grey list, how important was this midterm budget policy statement in reinforcing our fiscal credibility internationally? And, have we seen any immediate impact on the Rand or bond yields following, the minister's address?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first there was the removal from the grey list. Next, there was S&P improving our credit rating status last night. We're still, unfortunately, in junk status, but we're on the way up. It's actually our first credit rating upgrade in 16 years. And all of this is leading to a really strong Rand. So we see the market really being excited by South Africa, not only because the GNU is finally getting on and doing something which seems to be improving South Africa, but over and above that, they're doing things to curb spending, which doesn't include the raising of taxes to create more money or the borrowing of more debt. For example, the budget speech identified 8,800 cases or high-risk cases rather, of ghost workers at state-owned enterprises. So effectively, there are 8,800 people that have been being paid salaries, but there's a good chance they don't actually work there. And that's going to be reformed and made correct, which in turn could leave more spending for infrastructure and growth in South Africa.
And in fact, I want to speak about that government, once again, speaking about accelerating structural reforms, to unlock growth and ease fiscal pressures. In your view, which key reforms should be prioritized right now to prevent further fiscal deterioration and attract much needed private sector investment?
Yeah, so it's all the major infrastructure projects. We see Eskom has had a lot of burden removed, which is excellent news. We also have PRASA and Transnet, which need to be improved, because as soon as those can be improved, everything else will come right from there. And as you say, the growth is slow at the moment. It's for 1.2%, for 2025, it's projected at 1.2%. But for 2026 and 2027, we're actually predicting 1.8% growth per year, which is a 50% increase from 1.2. We'd love to be at the sort of 4% mark in time, but we're definitely going the right direction. And I think those major projects, major SOEs are what need to be addressed in order for economic growth to be easy.
Yeah, and we've seen, mixed response as well from the business community. Some relief over spending restraint, but concern about the slow growth that you speak of. From your conversations, with corporates and market participants, what is the general sentiment? Are businesses feeling reassured or still hesitant about South Africa's economic direction?
It's an interesting one because we're absolutely feeling better as a community than we were last year or the year before. It's going the right direction. As I said, it's our first credit rating upgrade in 16 years. That really says something.
Yeah.
All that said, though, there's still so much further room for improvement because of how slow the growth currently is. And that almost excites me and general businesses in South Africa more, because it means that there's so much ability to strengthen the country even more and strengthen the rand even more. So I think investors are piling into South Africa, realizing while we've had a bit of a turnaround, we're still at a relative low, and there's a chance that the rand can do so much better and the country can do so much better than it is currently. But this is just the first step towards improvement from what's otherwise been a free fall for a few years running.
Yeah. And I mean, looking ahead, what actionable signals, I mean, should businesses and investors be watching for? I mean, particularly around new revenue measures or policy shifts that could influence the economic and market outlook heading into next year's national budget?
I think the big thing is how well we implement the control of wasteful expenditure and how well we manage our debt. If we can manage our debt efficiently and we can ensure that wasteful expenditure is reduced, we're going to have more money to put into infrastructure projects, like Eskom, like PRASA, like Transnet, like many others, which will amplify our growth. We're in this sort of situation where we need money in order to improve the low-hanging fruits, but we don't have money to pay for more debt. Our debt is already extremely high. And so the easiest way to do that is remove wasteful expenditure and redistribute it to infrastructure products or projects which can improve South Africa as a whole. And that's what I'd be looking for next year, is how well we implement increasing infrastructure, reducing wasteful expenditure. And I believe we are going to do that effectively.
Harry, thank you very much indeed. Harry Scherzer, who is the CEO of Future Forex, sharing his insights on how businesses and markets are responding to the mid-term budget policy statement. Thank you very much indeed, Harry.